Hey, Showiteers, welcome to another episode of Show It Live here on showiteer.com. That's a lot of Showits.
It is.
Yes.
Good morning, Showiteers.
Good morning. I'm Field, and this is my amazing co-host.
I'm Elizabeth Langford.
I'm Elizabeth. That's her name. I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Elizabeth.
It's like 19 letters.
Yeah. So, guys, welcome to the show. We have a great show for you today. One of my favorite peoples in the world is chatting with us via internet.
Yeah. All the way from Canada.
All the way from Canada. It's the northern border of the United States. But real quick, while you're here, on the left side, over here on the left side of the screen, and Liz, there's this cool little chat thing. I don't think you have to sign in anymore. You may have to sign
with
in.
Facebook though, I think.
Oh, okay.
Like Twitter.
Yeah, you can
media.
sign in over there and chats with other people around the globe.
And tell us what the weather is like. I don't know. Did you watch the news this morning?
Nope.
Apparently, the big story is the weather, and it is snowing like crazy, and there's lake effect snow. And so post up and tell us like what the weather is like outside your window, and we won't tell you what it's like outside ours.
Yeah, no, I actually had to shave my beard because I was getting too warm. It was still like 78 degrees. So I was like, this is a little hot. I'm
embarrassed to admit that I'm wearing like full boots, sweater, and wore a wool jacket this morning. Like it's cold here, and I think it was maybe 48 degrees.
What? That's chilly for no other part of the nation.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, definitely. I saw there were some people on here posting 8 degrees, right? In the chat, a balmy 72 where Lucas is.
Yeah.
That's pretty chilly.
It's pretty chilly.
Yeah.
Well, I got a text message, I think it was last week, from Tori Aker, and she had been here like the week before and we had lunch, and she sent me, and it was -1 degrees in Colorado. And I feel bad for
Well, they're having lots of blizzards. People can't travel down. We had somebody who we were expecting to see on Sunday.
Yeah.
And they couldn't make it because they couldn't get from Wyoming to Denver because of blizzard
condition.
I didn't know what Dairy Queen had anything to do with not being able to get from one spot to another.
No, but you know, it might be winter, but it's also another type of season. I've got a photo up here on my computer.
It's duck season.
It's not duck season. It's Han Solo season.
Oh, for sure.
And this came up on Reddit, and it's gone around on Facebook, and I just thought it was hilarious because you look at these girls and you're like, oh my gosh, like totally, like the white long sleeve and the puffy vest and the boots and like the sling bags, and they a little reminiscent of the like original Star Wars back from when I was a kid. So if you are old enough, you know Han Solo.
Or if your parents were just awesome.
Right?
Just throwing that. Yeah, everybody's out there looking for a princess, I guess. That's kind of
That's pretty much the truth of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're all scruffy looking nerf herders.
Nerf herders.
Nerf herders.
Now, I hear that you had a little bit of an accident, little kerfuffle over the weekend. What happened?
Well, I think I'm younger than I am.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was playing baseball, and I think I tore my MCL again.
Oh.
So Field is a gimp.
Uh-oh.
Field's a gimp.
Yeah. So Field is on the bench for the rest of.
It took me a long time to get up in this chair.
It took me a long time to get up in this chair, but that's for a different reason.
But you have a ladder. We got our ladder.
I have a vertical challenge.
Yeah.
So
I'm walking around, but it's totally cool. We had a workshop on Sunday.
Yeah. How did that go?
And so I just I walked like that.
Gimped along.
Yeah. It went great. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so if you're gonna have a workshop, the key is to go out and drastically injure your knee, and then you're good. You're good to go. Focus shifts and people felt sorry for me. They were bringing me foods and drinks, and it was fantastic.
So perhaps you purposefully,
you may say
unconsciously, unintentionally, damage this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody out there with a knee injury in the cold, you let us know.
Yeah. So one other thing we want to mention before we get to today's guest is that it happens to be a very happy birthday for one of our own Showiteers.
Yes.
And I'm just going to go ahead and nominate him for Showiteer of the Week.
I think he deserves it. Well, not only is it his birthday, and he's at least the internet says it's his birthday. If it's not his real birthday,
it could be. Facebook could be a liar.
The internet is a liar. But not only is it his birthday, he's like one of the sweetest, nicest guys out there.
Yeah.
And he's super helpful in everything he does. And he's the proud owner of a new golden retriever.
Oh.
So yeah, so I follow their Instagrams just for the golden retriever.
I follow their Instagrams to see the food.
Okay.
And who we are talking about is Mikey Smith. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Mikey.
To Mikey. And we love you, and we love that you are a showteer, and we love that it's your birthday. We love birthdays.
Yeah.
So yay! Cheers to a birthday.
Cheers to birthday. Showteer of the week, Mikey Smith.
Awesome. Very cool. So we have someone else very cool who's waiting to hang out with us via Skype chat.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said before, she's from Canada.
Yep, where it's very cold.
Where it's very, very cold. I think she even had like a roaring fire going in the background, which is fantastic. Which makes me think of a very classy Christmas coming up.
Oh.
Put it on your calendars, December 11th,
Mm-hmm.
here in Phoenix. If you guys can make it, if you're a showteer, we'd love to have you come and be a part of our very classy Christmas.
Yeah, and if you're wondering about room and board and all of that, we actually have tons of showteers here in the local area who have said, "Oh, they could stay at our house." So
we will find a place for you to
to
lay your head.
For sure.
So yeah,
really excited. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Justine Russo.
Yay! Good morning.
Good morning. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to America again.
I think she's actually wearing a scarf.
She is.
It's not that cold here. I keep hearing about all the snow in Denver and everything, and we don't have snow. It's not even freezing here. It's annoyingly right above freezing. So when it rains, it rains. It doesn't snow yet.
Oh, man, that stinks. Well, for those of you, just send some snow to Justine. Just put it in a package, send it to her. I hear it travels well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
So for those out there in the internet land who may not know the awesome Justine Russo, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
I'm a wedding photographer, obviously. I live just outside Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I've been married for almost 7 years. I have 2 kids. That's about it.
That's you in a nutshell.
I love pumpkin spice lattes.
Yes, and pumpkins in general.
Pumpkins in general, and now it's coming up on Christmas, so I have all the Christmas boxes out in the hallway. We're going to decorate tonight.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's never too early to start celebrating Christmas.
Well, they already had their Thanksgiving. Justine was explaining to us earlier today that Thanksgiving in Canada happens back in October. And so like I feel like it's totally green light, decorate for Christmas. If you decorate for Christmas before Thanksgiving here, then you're sort of on par with Walmart.
Yeah, well, and you just really love Christmas.
You do.
And I think Thanksgiving and Christmas, I mean, they're 2 separate holidays, but they go hand in hand. During the Christmas season, we're very thankful people.
This is true.
And so I think
hashtag Thankful Thursday.
Hashtag whatever Thankful Thursday is. Yeah, so one of the reasons we wanted to have you on the show today is this is a season where a lot of photographers' businesses are kind of slowing down, and they're trying to make plans for the next upcoming year and what they're going to do and blah, blah, blah. Well, and then last year, and you're doing it again this year, but last year you wrote a blog post about creating a business plan.
An annual
business plan.
Business plan.
That sounds like you do it more than once.
Yes.
And
annually, once
bi-weekly.
a year.
Oh, once a year. So tell us a little bit, like, why did you decide to do a business plan?
Originally, I did it because my husband has his business degree and he made me do it.
Yeah. So
it was a little bit of a fight because he kind of came at it from like a business point of view. So he was like, "What's your mission statement?" And I was like, "I don't know, to take good pictures. Like, I don't have a mission statement."
Yeah.
And then I kind of started looking around on the internet for like some sample business plans for creatives, because I think ours is a little bit different than, say, a business plan for, well, my husband, like a financial advisor.
You're not going to sell widgets, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your business plan has nothing to do with people needing and wanting and then selling them widgets.
Yes. No. Not at all. So yeah, I sat down and I wrote one and I couldn't believe how awesome it was. So I very difficultly had to tell my husband he was right.
That's tough. That's tough. I've been on the other end of that. It's very hard. It's very hard.
You were right. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. You just fit that into a conversation like, "Oh, hey, did you try those cookies over there? You were right. They're delicious."
You're right. Anyways.
When you sat down the first time to write this business plan, About how long did it take you? Like how much of a time commitment was it at the beginning?
To actually physically write it, it probably only took about, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours, but I'd already put a lot of thought into kind of where I wanted my business to go in the next year and kind of my goals. I'd already done kind of the pre-thinking about that. Mm-hmm. So it was just kind of actually getting it down on paper and yeah.
So, and then on the blog, which I don't know if we have that available to show right now, but you kind of laid out a sample business plan. So where do you recommend the good like starting point is when you're saying, okay, I need to write a business plan for the following year? Mm-hmm. Like what would you say is, this is step one?
Step one, I would say, is to just kind of think about where or how your business went in that previous year, and then kind of where you want it to go for your next year, what your goals are, what kind of anything you want to accomplish, any education you want to get, kind of what your target is for the next year in terms of if you want to shoot mostly weddings or family portraits or just kind of it's kind of a roadmap of where you want your business to go. So just kind of think of what you want to accomplish in the year coming up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then, basically when you're setting this up, if I shot 4 weddings the year before, I probably shouldn't have a business plan to shoot 39 weddings the following year. Right.
Well, that could be your ideal. Like it's good to have like 3 sets.
We keep losing you, and that was my fault apparently. I'm sorry. There we go.
But so if you wanted to make that drastic jump or change, like this is a way that you could say, okay, my goal is going to be to grow exponentially by this percentage of weddings, and actually having a plan of how you're going to do that is how you're going to get there. You can't just say, it's not like magic.
Yeah.
Don't you just wish you could sprinkle a little magic sometimes and it would just happen?
That would be great.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it would be amazing. But it sounds like actually a better idea would be to create a business plan. Tell us a little bit about why you decided it needed to be annual and not just, I'm going to create a business plan, put it in a drawer, and now I've done it. I can check it off my list.
I really like the annual planning, especially for our industry and our job, just because we have such an on season and an off season. I find it's nice to plan it in the winter. So I'll be writing mine within the next week or two for the next year. Mm-hmm. So that as I go into 2015, it helps me through my booking season and through kind of the busy season. And then it kind of helps me really get set up for my next year.
Okay. That's great. And did you find that this past year you actually did go back and refer to it?
I did. And it was super helpful to kind of review it every quarter. Okay. And my husband and I make him kind of look through it with me, and then we kind of chat it out loud and just kind of talk about like, oh, I've accomplished this already, but I find that I'm lacking in this area. Okay. And it's just a nice reminder of what my goals were for the year.
Okay. And kind of get you back on track, and then allows you to make adjustments if you decide it's no longer my goal to do this. You can adjust with it. I think that's awesome. And I'd love to know in the chat, who out there has a business plan already? Is anybody else doing this or some kind of a version of this? It seems like I feel really motivated. Like I need to go make a business plan today.
I'm going to actually leave and go do one real quick.
No, you have to wait. You have to do this first. Now,
Well, Lucas Van Dyke actually brought up a good point. It's amazing how when you write things down, they end up happening. Like, I find that so true. Like if I write down even as something as simple as a to-do list, like if I write it down and I know like, okay, I've written it down, then this is going to get done. And it's true. Like it does. Like write it down, make it happen kind of thing.
Did you start with a template, Justine, when you wrote your business plan? Like did your husband, having been in school, did he have a template to help you get started or?
Yeah, he had a template, but again, his was very like business oriented, more for. Yeah, so I looked around on the internet and kind of combined a couple of them, things I liked and things that didn't really fit in for a photographer's business. I kind of just checked out the window.
Okay. I know if you go to sba.gov, which is the Small Business Association, and it's a government website, but they do have an interactive business plan that you can kind of go through, and it'll save it for you, and you can download it, and it has all the spreadsheets built in, and sometimes it's just easier to get started when you have a template. If you're trying to do this from scratch, who knows what goes into a business plan?
For sure, yeah. A template's definitely helpful to kind of guide you through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and Lauren Persons made a really good point here. Like, she just moved to Austin, and so it becomes like a whole new business. Like, it's kind of starting from scratch. What I like about that is you have the ability to write out a plan that will get you from, ground zero in a new location to really making a name for yourself there. So I think that's really, and probably the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
And then Lucas said that they do one every February, which is cool.
Now, is your business plan, Justine, is it like big, broad strokes, or is it really getting down into like specific action steps and tasks?
Mine gets down really specific, especially for us, because I'm a mutual breadwinner with my husband. Like, we both need each of our incomes to make our household run. So for us, it helps me stay on track financially as well, like to know kind of where, like, what's the minimum I can make to have our household run. And then it gets right down to like the nitty gritty of like what my expenses are for the year. And it helps me kind of assess where I can cut back on expenses and where I can invest in my business. So it definitely gets down. I think mine for last year was like 12 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get quite down and in depth, which is awesome. It's really helpful throughout the year to kind of keep things on track.
So that actually brings up a really good question. Like, because you are a mutual breadwinner, but you're in different industries, do you then get together with Marco and say, okay, like, here's our goals before we go down and write these down? Like, how do they connect? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. He's also self-employed, so we kind of have to really work together, even though we're in totally different industries.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think like Blair made a comment in the chat just saying about, getting organized and trying to do it by January 1st. Do you find, like, for you, business planning and doing your plan this time of year is your most ideal time because you're a little slower in terms of actually going out and shooting? Or was there a particular reason that you have chosen this season?
I like this time of year, and I like doing it earlier in the off season because usually right around now is booking season as well. So I have a bit of a marketing plan built into my business plan. So it kind of helps set up my marketing plan as I go into my next round of booking. So I kind of have all the marketing stuff laid out.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I think that's really great. I think several people that I know that do sort of like a retreat planning weekend at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year have found it to be really successful for their business. I think even Promise Tangibin, I think, does something like this where she will do kind of a little retreat and planning. I think even Melissa Jill with Align Album Design does something similar to this. And it just seems like it allows you to focus and say, I'm going to do this every year when you add it in annually. I think it's great.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's very cool.
Super awesome.
Super awesome. And did it just throw your husband when you kind of had to go back and say, yeah, this was worth it. Thanks, babe.
Yeah. He was thrilled. He was a little bit like, I told you.
Yeah. So so you said the first step is really trying to figure out like where you want to go and all that. Like where does this end as far as what's the finished product look like for you in terms of what all it entails? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Once it's all I'm old school, so I actually have mine here for last year. It's all on loose leaf paper.
All on what?
For me, I like the actual physically handwriting it out rather than typing because it just, I don't know. And then I have it with me all the time. It's in my little planner and I carry it around with me. And but yeah, in the end, you have kind of this super laid out document, I guess, that kind of has your entire business for the next year in one little package. It's got everything from your main goals to your strengths, weaknesses, your main roles in your business, kind of your marketing plan, your financial plan for the next year. It lays out all of your expenses. So you kind of literally have your business for the next year in one, however many page little.
Yeah, I like how you said that you take it with you. So this isn't something that you do and then you disregard for the upcoming months. How often do you go back and check on
I try to every couple months. Every couple months I try, and if not every quarter for sure. I try to mark a day on the calendar that's like business reviewing, and then Mark will take me out for dinner and we review it.
Oh, that's awesome. So it becomes like a business date.
Business date, yes.
Nice.
So then I think, can you expense that, right? Or you not expense it, but you can deduct that.
Yeah.
So Amanda Coldicut had a question in the chat, Justine, and she said, is it worth it to have a business plan if you're not the main breadwinner? It sounds like in her family, they don't rely on her income, but is it still, do you think, a good idea for her business that she take the time and do this?
Yes, I think every business should have one. So I think even if you're not a primary breadwinner, you still have goals for your business. You still have things you want to accomplish. So I think even though the financial part of the plan might not be as important, it's good still to lay out the rest of your goals and to kind of have a good idea of where your business is at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think too, it seems like it would help you that when an opportunity comes up, you can sort of check it against your business plan, and it's not just the gut check. You're like, I need to go see, does this align with everything that I plan to do? Because sometimes opportunities come up and you think, oh, that's great, I don't want to pass on that. But you realize later, that didn't really align with what I was planning to do. So
well, and I like how you have like, it's not just, hey, I need to shoot 30 weddings, or I need to shoot 15 family sessions, or whatever, but you also have like education stuff that you put in there, right? Like opportunities to learn and to grow as, not only as, Justine Russo, the photographer, but Justine Russo, the business person, right?
Yeah.
That's super.
And I find too, it also really separates, because I find it hard in our business, we are our business. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to or I find that the business plan kind of separates our business from ourselves a little bit, so that we're not just kind of aimlessly heading into the next year. We kind of set, like, this is my business and this is what my goals for it are, and it separates it a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it helps you make, again, decisions that are not based on emotion, but they're based on business and what is best for your business looking forward. And it seems like this would just be really a great idea for everybody to kind of take the time and go through it and work through it. Because it can't be, you said it's only 2 to 3 hours to actually write it, but you thought about it quite a bit before you did that. Oh, my earpiece fell out.
Oh, okay. See, she can't hear. Well, another thing I'd want to know is, do you go back and, so let's say you're halfway through the year and you realize that you're either exceeding a goal or you're not hitting a goal. Do you adjust it at that time, either way, or if you're not hitting a goal, do you push harder towards it, or what?
I definitely adjust it. That's the one thing that Marco has always told me, is he's like, a business plan is dynamic and flexible. It kind of can change throughout the year as your business goals. So if you realize that one of your goals was a little bit too ambitious, then you can decide personally whether you want to push harder to make it work, or whether you want to, readjust things a little bit or extend the timeline on that goal so that it's a bit more easy to accomplish. But yeah, it is important to remember that, it is dynamic and it can change as your business goes throughout the year, because, a year is a long time and things are going to come up. And
yeah. Well, and Clara Griffith just asked this in the chat. She said, how would I even get started with the business plan? I have 1 month under my belt, and how do I make something practical that isn't just a list of wishes and dreams? And I think, to your point, you need to be practical about it. This isn't a list of wishes and dreams. This is a list of things that I actually can accomplish, but it's going to change over time, whether you have 1 month of experience, 1 year of experience, or you're 10 years. And all businesses have to sort of change and adjust with.
Yeah, and I think there's room a little bit too for your wishes and dreams and that, because I find it makes them a little bit more, or a little bit easier to obtain when you put them into a business plan. You're not just saying, oh, I hope that one day I'll be able to do this. When you put it into a plan and actually list steps that you think will work to get there, it makes those hopes and dreams a little bit more achievable. And I've definitely been surprised over the years when I've kind of put something down as, this is like a dream goal that maybe one day I hope to accomplish. And I was surprised at how quickly it happened, just because I put it down on paper and kind of put the plan in place.
Yeah. Well, and I think specifically in that first year, it's a little advice for Clara. I mean, in that first year of business, there's so much you can do. You can really find out who you are as a photographer, what you love to do, like what's your passion, and really hone in on what you want to shoot going forward so you can become known for that. So I think going out there and trying things, seeing what you absolutely love, what you know is not for you, and then you can also kind of help, I think, really developing a brand and figuring out who you want to be, I think is probably the biggest thing when you're first starting out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could business plan that out.
Well, that and community, you know, what communities am I going to be in? What communities am I going to be super involved in? What are the vendors that I want to partner with? Do you talk at all in your business plan about vendor relationships, Justine? Like, I want to go and meet these vendors this year or do a styled shoot with them.
Jason, just go.
Yeah, that was in actually one of my goals for last year, because that was one of the areas in my business that I realized was a weakness. Okay. So I actually had that listed under a weakness, and then in my goals was to reach out to more vendors and to build more relationships and to make a point of it every wedding to kind of introducing myself to them. So yeah, I definitely worked that into the plan.
Okay. So is workflow part of your plan? Have you gotten that specific in terms of like, this year I'm going to outsource 70% of my weddings or whatnot?
Yeah, I have, in my business plan, I have my main roles and then what I outsource. So I kind of list what my main roles in the business are going to be and then what roles I'm going to outsource.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's huge, because I mean, I know a lot of people look at outsourcing and they're like, ooh, I can't afford to do it, or, you know, there's different costs associated with that. But I think it's really important to, when you're sitting down and you're thinking about that, list out your strengths, right? I like that you said, you know, these are weaknesses, things I can work on, but list out your strengths, list out your weaknesses. And if there's something you're weak at, it doesn't necessarily mean like you have to spend a lot of time developing and improving on that. Some of those things you can outsource fairly inexpensively or fairly effectively, or you can barter with other photographers in your community that you know that one of your strengths may be one of their weaknesses. I mean,
you don't realize it may be costing you more money to be doing these things than it actually is outsourcing. And that's a great thing about having a business plan, is you're actually paying attention to that. You mentioned expenses a while back, and I think that this is something that kind of came up in our talk with Justin and Mary. You might think you're making money, but when you actually get down into the nitty gritty, you aren't necessarily either making as much as you think, or you're not making anything at all. Did this help you to really focus in on, this is where I'm going to spend money in my business, and this is where it's just not worth it to take on these other expenses?
Yes, because actually my second year of business, I was very proud, and I was telling Marco, oh, I made this much money this year. I was feeling like I was feeling really good and really proud of myself. And he was like, hun, you didn't really make that much. You need to factor in your expenses. And then I was like, oh, but I still did really good. But then once I laid everything out, I was like, oh man, I did not make that much this year. So that was kind of the first time I really sat down and was like, hey, I need to look at where I'm spending money in my business and where all of that's going. Because the first time I wrote it down, I was like, holy smokes, like that's a lot of money that I'm investing in my business. And it really helped me look at what areas I was spending frivolously and where I could kind of cut a little bit and and make my business as profitable as I could. So
and we have up on the screen right now, it's from your blog post that you'd written, but it's the sample one that you had put up. And so just to let everybody out there know, this is a sample. These numbers are not what she used for her actual business plan. It's not quite as detailed as her business plan is, because this is not 12 pages. But it is kind of a great example if you want a really good starting point, kind of a balcony level view of a good business plan. Definitely take a look. We'll have a link. We'll have a link of it available at the bottom of underneath this video here at the end if it's not already there. But definitely check it out, and it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Well, and I think I don't know. I'm embarrassed to say I am not educated well on Canada and how it works, but I know here in the U.S. we have this looming April 15th date with taxes coming up, and so I'm hearing, you know, thinking about a business plan and thinking this would be really smart to be going through this in November or December and having an idea of how much I'm going to be paying in taxes and what my expenses have been if I need to purchase something else for my business before the end of the year. Gosh, fourth quarter is a good time to be on this and really thinking about 2015, which is scary. Can you believe, like, 2015, it's happening?
That's years away.
No, it's like 47 days or something. Absolutely insane.
That can't be right.
No,
we're like months away from Thanksgiving.
It's ridiculous. Thanksgiving is next Thursday. It's a week from Thursday, but not for the Canadians. They've already experienced Thanksgiving.
That was last month.
Thanksgiving is in the past.
It's in the past.
In the past. What would be maybe your, kind of to put you on the spot, Justine, your number one tip for someone who is like gonna turn off chat when Show It Live is over and start this project? They're like, the snow is falling, it's freezing outside, my kids are in school, I'm gonna start this. What's your number one recommendation as people jump into this? And it's probably not something a lot of people have done before.
I think my number one thing would be to first think, just to first kind of really think about their business, how it was this year, how they want it to be next year, and then to share it with someone at the end. Don't just kind of write it yourself and keep it to yourself. Share it with either a close friend in the photography industry, share it with your husband or wife, share it with a sibling, kind of talk it out with someone, because sometimes they can see something that maybe you didn't see. And I find I have a few photographer friends and my husband who will challenge me on certain things. Like, we'll be like, that's a really good idea, but how did you want to accomplish that? Or how did you want to get to that point?
Okay. I love that. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week. Do it together, like do business together. And even if you're not in business with your husband is a part of, those decisions that you make for your business and can give you some outside perspective, or other photographers, other friends. That's really great advice.
Yeah. Even getting together with other photographers and writing it together. Like, if you have a photographer friend that's never done one before, go grab coffee, sit down, share ideas, chat back and forth, and write yours together.
That's awesome.
That's such a good idea.
I'm thinking, like, it's a little late, but January 2015, show it to your local groups.
Yeah.
Let's have a business planning, get together. Like, grab some pizza, grab some coffee, and sit down in your local Show It Tears group
or grab some, salad, because you gluten-free or whatnot.
I think you think girls and salad, right? Grab a steak, ladies.
Go get a steak and a heaping side of mashed potatoes.
Oh, go to the Outback. I don't know.
Go get a bloomin' onion. That wasn't an Australian accent. I don't know what that was.
I don't think we can't support that for January, because everyone will be on diets for United, right? Like, it's January and you want to get fit before. It's months away, but it's coming. Yeah. It's coming and it's going to be good. I'm so excited. I digress entirely.
Yes. Well, Uniteds are awesome, though. That's where I met Justine for the first time.
Yeah. I think that's where I hugged Justine for the first time. But I didn't know if her last name was Russo or Russo. And I'm so bad. Can we do an entire show where we just learn how to pronounce Show It Tears names?
Where we just butcher people's names, their entire family lineage.
We're going to fix them. We're going to fix it.
Oh, fix our problem.
Yes, it's our problem. It's not you guys. So if you have any other questions, post them up real quickly in the chat. And then, Justine, we'd like to maybe play a little. Are we ready to play a game?
I think we are.
We're going to play a little game.
Yes.
With you.
Yes.
And Field is so much better at explaining games, because I think I'm still the size of a young child, but
I am a child.
You are.
I'm the type of child who will go out and do something childish and get injured.
Well, baseball is not entirely childish.
It is if you're 32 and you're not playing it professionally.
But acting like you were playing it professionally, which led to an injury.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we play this game occasionally called Would You Rather.
Okay.
You know Would You Rather. So the main thing is there is a right and a wrong answer. So I'm letting you know ahead of time. You can
get this wrong.
You can do great and get this right. Okay. So I will ask you a Would You Rather question, and then you can ask one qualifying question to clarify, to try and get closer to the right or wrong answer.
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather live in a world without pumpkin spice, anything?
That sounds sad.
That I know. I'm tearing up. Or live in a world where everything, literally everything, was pumpkin spice. So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to get away with it. The tires on your car would be pumpkin spice. I mean, everything is pumpkin spice. That's
like the toilet paper.
Toilet paper, pumpkin spice toilet paper. Pumpkin spice water fountains.
This is hard.
Pumpkin spice
I
chewing
feel like
gum.
This is really an
toothpaste.
unfair question.
Yeah.
This is such an extreme. I mean,
both are extremes. If it was easy, it would just be called, hey, what do you think? This is would you rather. This is
okay.
And there is a right answer.
There is a right and wrong answer.
Maybe not. Hold on. I think I would rather live in a world without it because then I could still have eggnog and chocolate and wine and bacon.
Bacon and bloomin' onions.
Without even asking a qualifying question, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. I mean, pumpkin spice is great. Like everybody enjoys it. I enjoy it. Everybody enjoys it. But yeah, I mean, you said like 3 of my favorite things. Eggnog, like chocolate milk. Chocolate milk. Bacon. Some people think I like bacon. It's true. I love bacon.
Chick-fil-A.
So yeah, Chick-fil-A. Can you imagine going to Chick-fil-A and having a pumpkin spice chicken nugget?
Ugh. Yeah, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Good choice. I like your choice.
I like it. But I'm also sad because you have to live this out now. So no more pumpkin spice for you for the rest of your life. I'm terribly sorry.
We have a challenge from the community.
Oh, okay.
In the chat, we have
oh geez. She just got married, by the way. Congratulations.
Mrs. Farthing.
Yes.
Yeah, try to pronounce my name.
I always say Riet. Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure like what the 2 little like happy, the quotes above the E. Anybody in Chatland willing to help us with this one?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know how to read like proper pronunciation. So that'd become an issue. I also don't know how to read.
Can you phonetically type it in for us? Because I would love to know. Like how do you pronounce that? We're gonna do this. We're gonna have an entire episode where we decide or figure it out. Is it gotcha or gocher?
Yes.
Is it demos or demos? Is it Dizago or Dizego? Is it cook, coke, or koch?
Yeah. I know those answers though. We'll have to get better ones.
We will.
Riet, is it Riet? Like I need to know.
Yeah, we want to know. Is it Riet?
And then it's got to be Farthing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there are some show tiers with some like really cool names. And I want to know how to pronounce them correctly. So like when we get to United and WPPI, it's like, hey, Justine Russo, and I know how to say it.
It was so easy.
I know, but I think my confidence is getting lower.
Oh yeah, Jason, is it Toves?
Is it Toves?
Toves, Taves.
Is it Tovies?
Yeah. I called him Troves for some reason. I threw an R in his name for the longest time.
It's like Brett Favre.
It's Favre. He's French.
But does anybody actually say it the right way?
No.
They said Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Right?
In college, they stopped butchering it, and he just let it happen.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good.
Well, I'm waiting for Riet. Hopefully, it's Riet to say yay or nay on that. But otherwise, guys, thank you very, very much for joining us this week. Thank you, Justine, for joining us. Super awesome. All the way from Canada. She made the trip, guys.
It's awesome.
She made the trip via the internet.
Yeah.
But
and next week. Come back next week, next Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific time, because we actually are going to have some in-studio guests that are going to come all the way from California.
That's a
mystical
land.
The mystical land of Hollywood. Yeah. And they actually do live like near Hollywood.
Oh, really?
They live in Los Angeles, and it's Susie and Lucas Van Dyke, and they are going to come. They are wedding photographers, and they have a lovely little love story that hopefully they will share with us about how they met and fell in love. But they also have a really cool company called Chasing Lockets. And we're going to talk a little bit about gifting your clients and some awesome ways to gift your clients. And we're going to do a giveaway.
Yes.
They are going to do a giveaway for us. And so check out your email. We're going to be sending out an email blast later on this week, and you can get in on that and then just learn a little bit about creating, I think they call it the circle of love, with their photographers that use Chasing Lockets and gift giving to your friends. And what did Riet say?
Riet said that we got it right. It is Riet. And then also remember to always say the H in her last name, which is Farthing. If you take out the H, it becomes an act that my children think is hysterical.
All children like potty language and
yeah.
bodily functions. But
free lockets, Lucas. Free lockets.
Yay! So we're super excited to have Susie and Lucas in-house next week, and we are so grateful to you, Justine.
So grateful.
And we're gonna have to like do maybe 6 months from now. Let's check in with Justine on her business plan and check in and see how many of you did them. And I really think let's do this in January. Like let's show it to your local groups.
Yeah.
Business planning.
Well, and you can start now if you're in a local group. If not, hit me up. But you can start now. And then you guys can review them together. That's one of the coolest things about the local groups is getting together, kind of having people that you can bounce ideas off, but also a tiny little bit of accountability.
It does
as well.
Yeah, yeah. Once you say it to someone else,
you spray it.
That's something entirely different.
Once you say it out loud, you have to make it happen.
You have to make it, you have to make it happen, or you have to justify why it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things Justine said. Like, this is not locked in stone. Your business plan is a living, breathing document.
Yeah, it's like saying, I'm going to run a marathon tomorrow. I'm going to do it. Oh, I hurt my knee. I can't do it.
That's probably not going to happen.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah. So you could drive a marathon. You could drive 26 point whatever miles.
I've done that.
So, all right, guys. Well, we are so glad that you joined us today. Come back next week. Yep. Thank you, Justine.
Thank you very much.
And be awesome. Show Tears. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.